for black America, it's just another year. You knew the disrespect by your elected puppeteers, but let me show you how to persevere.
I know we had you guys kind of waiting in suspense, but we are here now. If you're wondering who we're listening to, this is Common off his new album, A Beautiful Revolution. The song is A Place in This World featuring DJ. Dope little album. I like it. If y'all don't know, Common's my favorite rapper, so I like all things Common, you know, like that's just me. So yeah, always gonna be a Common fan. Yeah, dope little cut. We got a lot to talk about today. Of course, you know what we're talking about, but we got some other things we're going to hit on before we get to some of that as well. So, Katrina's extremely happy today. I'm extremely happy today too. You know, first fam love. Okay, I represent.
You act like I'm not even that kind of person.
I know.
I had my little.
I know you had your memes. You was definitely.
I had my little moment yesterday, but it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be there at the inauguration.
Oh yeah, the inauguration about to be dope. That's about to be a good time. I can't wait. Hoping it ain't cold like it's been in previous years, because 2012 was freezing outside. Freezing. Anybody who was here for the 2012 inauguration for Obama, that was cold. All right, yeah. All right, let's jump into it. All right, and once again, if you was wondering who I was listening to, that was Common off his new album, A Beautiful World, or I'm sorry, A Beautiful Revolution. The song was A Place in This World. So really dope. If you haven't heard it, check it out. Always been a huge Common fan. So yeah, let's I mean, current news is basically what we talking about today. Y'all know what the current news is, right? So once again, congratulations to President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris.
You still saying it wrong, right?
Huh? Kamala Harris.
There you go.
I've been you know what? I've been saying the whole weekend Kamala Harris, and then I messed it up. My bad, y'all. Kamala Harris. I'm really excited about that. We're gonna get into that. We're gonna talk about a few things today. Obviously, we're gonna talk about the election and everything going on. Yep, we got Clarksville, Tennessee in the house. We got Kansas City in the building. And then also we're gonna talk a little bit about positive self-affirmations. And actually, we're gonna probably dig into that first. So let's get started with positive self-affirmations. And then that's made me saying, yes, it was cold up there. Yeah, it was cold. So I'm hoping that we have fair weather.
Album.
Oh yeah, really dope album. Chris, you gotta get taste some music. So yeah, you know. Huh? Chris is a good dude. If we act like that means he must be a great man. Lana, you're married to an awesome man if that's the case. You know what I'm saying? Lana said we are coming to the inauguration. We requested tickets. Oh, we gotta request tickets, so I guess we need to do that now. Mm-hmm. Can we do that now, Lana? I guess we can, right? If you know where we're supposed to go,
can you just talking? You better look.
Can you put like where we're supposed to go? Because yeah, I'm pretty sure that thing will be packed out.
If it's not already.
Yeah, so need to do that. We're gonna do that tonight. So yeah, let's talk about a little bit of positive affirmation. Kat, you wanted to bring this to the attention of our people.
Sure. So I was watching Letterman with Lizzo. And she said that something that was really interesting. She was saying that, you know, she gets annoyed because people are like, you know, why is this big fat black woman out here with her body out thinking she got to have back and a bowl of grits? And then on the other hand, people are like, oh my God, you're so brave. You are just so strong to put yourself out there. And she's like, I'm neither. I'm just happy and I'm existing. And I was like, I really thought about it. And I'm saying to myself, you know, she's got a point. Like, I don't think you have to be brave to be existing, just to be happy with yourself in the here and now. I'm sure because we make these standards of beauty of you have to always be on, you have to always look a certain way. And unfortunately with celebrityism, even Dave Chappelle said, when you're a celebrity, when you aim to be a celebrity, you aim for the affirmation and the opinions of people. And so for me, it's like, okay, positive self-affirmations. I feel like growing up in church, I was always taught to be humble. So I was never allowed to say, growing up, I don't know about you guys.
Joel was good. Baltimore in the building.
I was never allowed to say, I'm good. I'm the best at something. I think I look the best. I think I sound the best. I was never allowed to have that kind of like chip on my shoulder and really walk in that. Like the moment I actually felt like I was good at something or I did something well, I feel like my peers stole that joy from me. And because of it, as an adult, I have a hard time really speaking self-affirmations over myself as a black woman.
I think that's interesting. You brought up the some of the church aspect. I do think that's a perspective. Oh, and before I even get into that, Chris did respond back to that question I had about on the requesting the inauguration.
You said request from your state.
Right. No, not state rep. Is actually, he corrected it. It's your congressman.
Congressman, okay.
Yeah. Then he brought up Chappelle. We're going to talk about Chappelle too. Chappelle was on Saturday Night Live. That was the first time he's hosted since 2016. So yeah, we're going to talk to that. There were some funny moments in there that I enjoyed. But yeah, talking about the power of self-affirmations, that's true. I think one thing when you relate it back to the church, it's interesting because in one breath they say, be humble. But sometimes I do think not in all places in church, but I do think in some religions or certain denominations, they use it as a tool of power to exalt who they want to lift up, right? Because, that doesn't stop the pastor from, living his best life in some cases. And I'm not saying all pastors... Yeah, I'm not trying to say all pastors put their kids on a pedestal. I'm not saying all pastors are using the church to get their money, right? There's a bunch of people out there that make money outside of the church and do well with it, and they make their sacrifices. So I don't want you guys to think this is a one-size-fits-all comment. But we do know there are some pastors out there that will tell other people to hush or be quiet or limit their glow. But then, they don't want their line to shine too bright. But then when it's their kids or their wife, it's, everybody come and kiss the ring, right? And then I don't think we ever can. And then I think because these people don't have God's true destiny for the lives of those that they're shepherding over in mind, that's why they can do these destructive things. And then you create these situations where people don't have the confidence. Part of walking in faith, right, and adhering that to your life is knowing who you are and what they say, whose you are. So if you know you're a child of the King, why should you not feel confident that you can't get the job done? No matter what it is that God has placed you to do. I don't care if it's dribbling a ball, throwing a ball, running for state legislator, running a business, running a beauty shop, having a gift and a skill. You should feel confident in it because the God in you is greater than he that exists inside the world. Right? So because you are a God-fearing Christian, for those Christians out there, and if you believe that God is in you, you should affirm yourself in your ability. You know you can take out that giant with 5 stones and a slingshot. You know why? Because you know God is living in you. So you'll take down not just Goliath, but you also have 4 stones set aside for his brothers. That's why he picked up 5. He didn't need 5 for Goliath.
Okay, all right.
I'm just saying, hey, I read a Bible or two. Right? So I'm just saying, but yeah. I think sometimes religious control, there's a human aspect that is not based in faith or trying to grow the people that keep people from believing in themselves. Well, and it's contrary to what the Bible would say.
It's not even just religious. It's like I can remember times where...
Maybe said being a child of God will boost your confidence. Amen to that.
Well, I remember times in the church where I auditioned for a solo and I got it.
Oh, wow.
I got it. But then I was told, well... so-and-so wants to solo, and well, technically, she don't get a chance to sing more. And to your point, maybe she was the pastor's granddaughter or daughter or whatever, so they would take it from me. Yeah. Or I remember times where, I was the better shooter in a certain play or whatever, and it would be like, well, it was always well, and I feel like because of that, I feel like I was always at the mercy of the opinion of somebody else. And it trickled over into my adulthood. And so I'm learning now that you have to really be secure in yourself. Like, as an example, I'm a very talkative person when I'm excited. Like, if I'm sleepy, I'm not going to talk a lot. But I remember people like, oh, you talk a lot. And I used to take that as like, oh, well, I guess I should just be quiet. And now it's like, well, I mean, shoot, if I talk a lot, you ain't talking at all. That's on you. Maybe you insecure because you can't keep up with the conversation. But I don't know. I guess what I'm saying is I'm learning that as I'm going through my phases as an adult. That's why old folks kind of are very... I feel like old people are very direct because they're more assured of themselves. Mm-hmm. But I also feel like in these phases of life, you realize that sometimes people's insecurities will be perpetuated onto you. Yeah. And you don't even realize. You're like, wow, that doesn't even make sense until you start reflecting.
Yeah, it does. Let me read some comments. So Lana said, my positive affirmations are rooted in being grateful. Also, I won't diminish myself to make others feel better. Good point. And then Lana had another comment. She said, if I'm a child of a king, queen, I'm walking in it like a god. Others are attracted to that energy and light. That's very true. When you believe in yourself, there's countless books. And then Herman said, all right, Bishop, on 5 stones. I see you. But there's countless books that kind of affirm what Lana was saying, which is, you know, when you believe in yourself, people have no choice but to believe in you as well, right? We see this a lot in the...
Hey, Tiger.
Yo, what's up, Tiger? We see this a lot when it comes to courting, right, and dating in that world, right? There's countless books out there. The Game. There's another book by a gentleman that had like a TV show that was teaching guys how to be confident to get women. This is kind of the same information they pulled from when they did the movie Hitch, right? It's teaching guys and girls how if you walk with a certain amount of confidence, when you dress a certain kind of way, just your posture makes women believe that you're sure of yourself and you're good looking. You could be the best looking guy in the world. You can be, I guess, Idris Elba or whoever girls are finding,
confident.
you know, yeah, Michael B. Jordan, whoever women are finding beautiful or good looking these days, right? But if he walks in a way where he's like, and then his clothes represent that, so now he wears those frumpy as well, then, and if he doesn't seem sure of himself, then they look at him and be like, I don't want that. Meanwhile, you got guys out there like Flavor Flav who believes in himself. And most women probably say they're not attracted to the aesthetic of someone like a Flavor Flav, but because he believes in himself, he had very beautiful women chasing after him.
He also had money.
And he also had money. Money helps, but then money helps boost confidence, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Because when you know you could go in the store and buy basically what you want, you feel better walking through the mall. When you walk through the mall on a budget, when you got like $5 and like a couple of, change, and you walking in the store looking at, making I wish comments, like, man, I wish I could get that, I wish I could get that, versus when you know, well, if I wanted that suit, I can buy it. So when people ask you, do you need help and things like that, it's just a certain confidence you have when you respond back, because you know, like, if I wanted to get it, I could. Let me read some comments from Tiger. He said, you have to have a strong self-worth. I appreciate that. He said also, unfortunately, we live in a society where others feel they need to dim your light to shine. That's important. I'm going to get back to that. Chris had a comment as well. We African Americans have many self-confidence and image issues.
Wow.
Amen.
Wow.
I believe originate from centuries of being victims of targeted degradation. The trauma associated with that is real. Tiger said, Chris and we have the mean girl syndrome. So,
but to Christopher's point, one thing I do want to say, I do think it's funny because I know people who are chocolate like me, and they say things to me. These are men and women.
Oh yeah.
I'm dark, but I'm not as dark as you. I'm like, oh, okay. You know, I embrace it. I embrace it. I'm chocolate. It is what it is. Like, this is how I came out. Or people who will say, oh, you could do natural because you got a looser curl. It's like we have an infatuation with everything that is other than black. So if you have a wider nose, you're deemed not attractive. The guy on Lovecraft Country, people were saying like, yo, homeboy got a crazy nose. I'm like, well, he's a black man. Like, what do you want from him? You have people who are men or women who don't think you are as attractive, or your hair is not as attractive if your curl isn't looser. You even have people who are
my bad, Tiger. You
even have people who are not as light as Juan, who are more caramel skin, and they will definitely defend to their death that they are light skinned because they think that that's some kind of badge of honor or privilege. And I think that we need to start being. What I appreciate about Beyonce, I mean, obviously she is considered the status quo of looks, but she seems to really embrace black culture. She's like, my man got a Jackson 5 Negro nose. Like, I love it. So I don't know about you guys, but I don't know if you've ever felt like you need to be a certain size, certain complexion, have a certain hair texture, certain nose. And I do think that these image issues are so heavily entrenched in how we view ourselves. That's why you see these celebrity women getting nose jobs, getting butt jobs, getting their skin bleached. I mean, it's prevalent. And then unfortunately, we say it all the time, and I hate to bring back to dating, and I'm not going to belabor the point, but our black men like features that are not traditionally black. Now, you are an anomaly, but most black men are told, if you have a woman that looks like me, man, you ain't got no bad chick. A bad chick is somebody who like Kim Kardashian.
So let me comment on there since I'm a man. All right, so quick comment from Chris, though. He said, Tiger said, she said, or you're cute for a dark skinned girl. We see that a lot. Chris said, check out a dope Henry Lewis documentary, The African Americans, Many Rivers to the Cross. That is good. Yeah, y'all really should check that out. That's really good. Positive affirmations, and then I'm gonna go into another part of it. So even when you're talking about from like a dating aspect or just the standards of beauty, I think a lot of that is we've allowed a European standard based on slavery, institutions of power in the West to now conform the idea to all black people what's beautiful, right? So you start talking about noses, lips, because before then, if you look historically, everybody wanted to wear their hair up. Well, that's they were falling African or Kemetic, standards of beauty. And then somewhere around the Middle Ages, that's when you start seeing this shift to try to exalt that more European look, right? So
even in other,
and I think what happens is when we don't have those positive affirmations, even when it comes outside of looks, we have to first find it within ourselves.
Yeah.
I think as families, start small sometimes. It's like find ways to start complimenting people in your family, right?
I like that.
It's like that. Start by appreciating your sister, your brother, your mother, your father, right?
Daughter.
Then start and start by, and for those parents out there, start affirming your children. I got to give a shout out to Mamie Altar, right? That's my mother. She definitely believes in positive affirmations, right? She'll try to preach to me every time on the phone we talk. I'll be like, Mom, I got to get off. I got to get on the meeting. She'll be like, yeah, but don't forget, you're the head and not the tail. You're above and not beneath. I mean, she'll go through the whole thing almost every single time. My father will too.
So
shout out to her.
He's smarter than everybody.
No, I'm just saying.
You see what I'm saying?
No, okay, no.
You see what I got to deal with?
No, but I will know. But the point of that is how it helped me out. So a lot of people don't know this, and it's interesting because I make my money speaking. Obviously, I'm on here speaking. But back when I was in kindergarten and first grade, they said I had a speech impediment. So up until basically going into second grade, my first 3 years of school, talking about pre-K, pre-K, kindergarten, and first grade, they thought I was slow because I had a speech impediment, right? They wanted to put me in like the slow class. They didn't think I was smart because I stuttered. I had like a little bit of a lisp thing going on. I needed a speech pathologist to help me with it, right? Then in second grade, as I started speaking clearer and I can better convey my thoughts that I already had, I had a teacher, shout out to Miss Martha. She thought like, hey, you know what? Actually, I think Juan might be advanced, right? But if it wasn't for my mother speaking highly of me and my dad seeing the best in me early, I may have taken on what the teachers were trying to affirm at me as a school and believe I might be slow, I might be dumb, I might not be capable of understanding, right? So that's why when we start small, we have an opportunity to start touching those we have proximity to, right? And then I think we should expand it to there. I think we should be conscious of it at the job. If we're in a place of influence, try your best to see the best in people so that they could believe in the best of themselves. It starts small, and then you can start getting into the macro of it. I think the issue with positive affirmations when it comes like to dating and blackness sometimes is we're trying to attack it from a macro level, but really it should be done as a microcosm, right? We should handle it in the families and stuff because the influence you have at the family level is going to affect how you go out into the world, and now that's affecting how you view things at the job, as a performer, as some type of socialite, what have you. And I think that's why for me, I'm not going to put down a black woman, what color or whatever she is, because I just love the blackness, period. You get what I'm saying?
Right, but do you think that when you affirm it from the family level, do you think it should be a holistic viewpoint? Because Stacey Abrams, who you guys don't know, she is instrumental in Georgia. Is she a congressman woman or?
She ran for governor.
She said in her family that they always said, Stacey, you're smart, you're smart. They affirmed her intelligence, which then in turn made her feel insecure about how she looks. So she valued her intelligence over her looks. So I feel like there's a problem with that though.
Yep.
Affirmation should be a holistic. Not only are you smart, but you're also cute. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think, like I said, it starts in the home. I think we have to be cognitive of that in the home. And I do agree it should be in all things. But, it definitely should be balanced. but I don't want it. A lot of times when you hear affirmation, sometimes we start focusing on just the physical side of it, but we do need to affirm the intelligence. Because see, how many of our young men have been affirmed that they're smart?
Right, because
black males are more so than any other group are to be disciplined or to be chastised in the school environment, sent to in-school suspension or suspended or told to be quiet or told to stay after for detention. So you start creating this mindset of believing I'm a problem child, and conditioning them to be harassed by police, conditioning them to be products of the industrial prison complex, right? So affirmations, yes, beauty and all that is definitely a big part of it. I'm not trying to take that away, but there is something to be said about just believing in the innocence of someone, believing in the good doing of another person, believing in the intelligence of a human being, because that goes into the workplace. The reason why we're only making 91 cents to a white man's dollar or 62 cents to a white man's dollar is because people don't think we're capable or worthy of being paid the same. So those affirmations go beyond just beauty standards, but it actually seeps into every fabric of life. And I think that needs to be important when we go about it. We have a lot of comments, so let's read some of them. Let's see. Lana said, I had those feelings as a child, but as an adult, I started seeing images that looked like me, talking about the colorism thing. She said, it changed my mind when I saw Viola Davis or Lupita. Beautiful women.
But I don't even think Lana, I wouldn't consider you Lana dark skin, personally. But I understand where you're coming from.
And I think that's nothing we need to get rid of, too. Like, who cares whether someone is dark skinned? Well, I get what you're saying.
Well, I'm only saying that because being that you're brown skinned, I feel like, this is from my own friends who are brown skinned. Most people who are brown skinned, some of them may have a colorism problem, but most of them are like, well, I'm in the middle, so it's like, it's not the same as somebody who's light or dark.
And that's one of those myriad of things we deal with in the home, where we just like, listen, let's start having a hierarchy of color, and let's focus on just, black is beautiful and it comes in many shades, and leave it as that. Let me read some more comments. Herman said, that is real thing, Katrina. I have been accused of not being black enough because of my hair, accent, or being born in the UK, etc. Wow. And I have heard white men say that to my dad, which is absolutely absurd.
Your father has beautiful hair.
Yeah, but I mean, for someone to say like he's not black enough,
I know.
Like, who can decide what is a black experience? That's going to go into more of our conversation as we get into this celebration of the president-elect. Lana also brought up. She said, "Juan, I didn't allow it. It was told to us. Now in 2020, it is a race to look black. That's true." Let's see. For Christopher said, for me, being in Atlanta was very instrumental in developing my orientation as it relates to how I engage with the world as an African American man. Did it have an impact on you, Kat, being at Spelman?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Spelman was my very first time experiencing black excellence and then seeing so much confidence. First of all, I didn't even know the black community was so diverse and so vast, because my thought process was so linear. I was just used to Cleveland Heights people, and Ohio people. So when I went to Spelman, I'm meeting people who are, I'm talking about L.A. Reid's son, like wealthy black people for the very first time. I'm meeting eclectic, neo-soul, Erykah Badu black people, and they're confident. And I'm meeting big girls who were like, baby, I'm the best. I'm out here cornbread fed, confident. I'm just like, wow. So yes, being in Atlanta and even being in DC, I feel like has developed me into my own appreciation of myself and my own self-worth. Like, I see black wealth all the time. So for me, I know that, stop it, because I don't do that to you.
Come on.
Just go.
Just got a lot of comments, and we still got to hold up.
Yeah, but I'll let you talk the whole 5 minutes. Once.
All right, Alisa also has some comments. We got a whole bunch of them, y'all. Like, he asked a simple question. You gave like a whole speech.
I'm glad I didn't
That's good. All right, so Alisa said, I went natural hair so my darker skinned daughter would embrace her beauty.
Wow.
I like that.
I love it.
See the value of these comments. Lana said, I tell my niece and nephew every time to speak to them, hi beautiful or hi handsome.
Aww.
Now I see the difference in their behavior since I've started saying it.
Come on, right? I love it.
I've seen it even in my family where certain people have dispositions because certain aunts said nasty things to them, and it changed their attitude and how to deal with others. So I feel like that's important. Herman said, it always starts from the family first. Lana McKinney said, Tiger said that she was a state rep. That was what Stacey Abrams.
A state rep, okay.
Yeah, she was a state rep. Lana said it's a balance. Mamie came in, she said, you are the head and not the tail, you are above and not beneath, you are royal priesthood. I've heard that so many times, y'all. So many times.
Lana, the colorism is small, but it exists. Seeing any color was important. I didn't even know I was dark skinned until about 8 years old. I had no idea.
Wow. Lana said the banter is dope.
Because he over here telling me to be quiet. I'm like,
no, I'm not telling you to be quiet. I just want you to rush through it so that we get to it. We're at 8:33.
You see how when Juan make his point, he be going and preaching in 2 minutes. I'm like, oh yeah, go. When I go, it's like, hurry up your thoughts. Okay.
But we were in the middle of like the comments.
This topic is a good one. Yeah. You should say thank you, Kat, for bringing it to my awareness so that we can talk about this kind of stuff and get deep.
It is a good topic. That's how we're talking about it.
He's trying to rush me to get to the political talk. That's
I'm not rushing through. You know, Elisa said yes. That's positive or negative. Chris came in again. He said, I think when it comes to a girl, you have to be careful about how much emphasis you place on her looks.
Wow.
Hey, man, that's kind of like where I was getting at. Thank you, Chris. He said, generally speaking, the world does not appreciate the many facets of a woman. Preach. I would let her know she's pretty, but that's not all she is.
Hold
on, let me see all of this. He said,
this is a good comment.
That's not all she is. Her appearance will be naturally recognized by someone, man or woman, who finds her attractive. Fact. Tiger said, I wanted to hear the Spelman experience. Yeah, but you pretty much gave the experience. You started going into the DC experience.
You see how he's trying.
All right, so give him the rest of the DC experience.
It's fine. Thank you, Tiger. Like, you see how he's trying to rush what I was going to say. Basically, my swimming experience was amazing. I have one question so we can end. I know we have to move on to the topic. I have one question for you and Chris, or any men out there. What are your thoughts on the black men that have a strong emphasis on looks? So they themselves have African features. And they go for a woman who is racially ambiguous, and then when their child comes out with their features, it's almost like they're praising their mom for looking good, but their daughter looks nothing like that. So their daughter is left looking like, well, I look like you, Daddy. Am I not cute? How do you approach that conversation?
I think part of it is like I said, it starts at home, and it starts early. So I had a conversation with some of my not Facebook, but some of my Xbox buddies, right? So one of them, I won't say their names because I don't want to embarrass them, but we had a good moment to try to educate, right? So one had mentioned, he was like, yeah, you know, he said something about liking ethnic looking girls. He said like exotic girls. He said he liked light skinned girls, and he's like, you know, and I like a certain type of dark skinned girl. And automatically, I think this is where peer pressure could work positively. I said something to the matter of, okay, well, why is it that it had to be a certain type of dark-skinned girl, but then everybody else was as good as is, right? And sometimes just taking the time, even if, I think some people are worried about standing up, but I think little moments like that, where you can stand up and actually correct things, because he didn't even realize he had put a standard on the dark-skinned woman and not the other ones. So first, it was like a debate of just proving, no, bro, that's what you said. And then the second half was, all right, well, if you have a standard for women, period, make that clear when you're talking about all types. Don't always, like, black women are under this pressure, or dark-skinned girls, under this pressure to be a certain way in order to feel beautiful, right? The second part is, when it comes to, like, this idea, some of it is passed down trauma. Some of these men have these beauty standards based off what a woman told them. Mm-hmm. So one of the other men in the chat was saying, yeah, well, you know, I'd always date white women or light-skinned girls. And then come to find out, now he's a dark-skinned man. Mm-hmm. And he was like, yeah, but my mama's light-skinned. But she used to tell me stories about when she was light-skinned, these dark-skinned girls were beating her up and harassing her over her beauty, right? So she took the trauma of what her perception was of her experience. She was saying that to her son, who's dark-skinned, right? So now this dark-skinned man wants to be with a white or light-skinned girl because his light-skinned mama was always talking about how mean dark-skinned girls were to her.
They were allegedly jealous.
So allegedly jealous, whatever. But now he has this thought process, whatever her perception is, whatever. But nonetheless, she passed down her perception or her trauma to her son, who's a dark-skinned man.
Yeah.
And now he had to sit there and think about, like, oh wow, I didn't realize this may have been
Lana,
where this came from.
Can we talk about that, Lana? Yes. Some of these men have beauty standards and look like Bugalo Shrimp US. It's true. Some of these men look a hot mess.com and they be up here really trying to come for people. And it's like, sir, have you really looked in the mirror? It's serious. Facts. People cracking up.
Yeah, that is fine.
Some of these men need to get it together. It's like you need to go and do something with yourself, cause
yeah, and I think that's why a lot of the affirmations are going to start at home, and then sometimes you have to pay it forward. And what I mean by that is, let's say if you weren't blessed with a situation where you have parents that will affirm you the way you feel like you need to be affirmed, instead of passing that trauma through you onto your kids, break the chain within you and start affirming the child or the next generation the way they need to be, right? Or let's say you may not have kids, but you may have people you can mentor through your sorority, your fraternity, your church, some type of organization you volunteer with, your job. There's an opportunity for you at a small level to start passing that through. I love Lana's example earlier about how she started addressing her nieces and nephew as handsome and gorgeous and things of this nature, because it changes. I remember my mom used to do this thing. And it used to be funny because of like reverse psychology. She's always saying, all right, nice kids, come on, nice kids. Like, if she had us and like some other kids with her, like kids from the neighborhood or maybe kids from the church that was coming and we were all going somewhere, she'd be like, all right, nice kids, let's go, nice kids. And people would be looking at her crazy like, them kids bad, what? Them jokers like a real rambunctious, but she would just put that out there. And then a lot of these kids who are now grown, so many friends and family over the years, they still go back to her, and you know, like there was this appreciation of, I guess, just a simple thing of saying, hey, nice kid. Sometimes we don't know what people are going through at home, and I think we need to stop being selfish, think beyond our linear experiences, and start thinking, well, what could have led this person to think like this? And I think that was important in those conversations. Ask somebody, well, why do you feel like you like light-skinned women or white women more? Instead of saying, see, that's the problem with y'all men now, ask them, well, when did you start believing that? No, because then you get to the root of it, and then because until somebody can address it, you can't heal it. You get what I'm saying? But
you said something key when you said break the cycle. As too many people running around as one of those, well, my mom and dad didn't affirm me, my mom and dad didn't love me, this is why I'm insecure, kids made fun of me. You are a grown adult. Take accountability. Your parents had the tools that they had. You didn't choose your parents. Some parents are bad parents, right? But you know right from wrong. You know how to move forward in life. So you make a decision to empower yourself and better your life for the next generation. You can't run around with this, well, my mom and daddy didn't affirm me, that's the reason why I got low self-esteem. You 40 years old. At that point, it's on you.
I like that. We got some good comments in here. So Chris said, you're attracted to who you're attracted to, but once it becomes the center of the convo, that's the problem, right? Elisa also followed up with, the reason for attraction is the issue. I like that. And then Lana said, the reason for attraction is the issue. And then Lana said, everyone is attracted to someone, boogaloos or not.
Boogaloos, girl.
So, but the boogaloos be having confidence, so they just be like, they feel like they can pull whatever they want.
The most unattractive people do be having confidence.
They are self-affirmed. Like, listen,
funny,
I mean,
like, let me try to do something else.
I knew some guys.
I tap dance for a laugh.
I knew some guys that felt like they weren't attractive, and true. I knew some women too, and they said, "Well, shoot, they're like, well, since everybody thinks I'm ugly anyways, I might as well just go for broke." I mean, what I got to lose? They gonna say no?
Usually they're funny. They have a good personality.
Hey, but it works. It works. So look, that was good. So positive affirmations. We don't have that much time.
People still going in.
I know. Hold on. Chris said most people aren't that introspective. You either aren't going to get an answer or an adequate answer. Good point. Herman said, go ahead, Juan. Let's defend at least some menfolk. Yeah. Because some of us, we not all on that, right? You know, a lot of us men do value black women, but sometimes we don't necessarily have the loudest voices in some of these social spaces.
No,
right?
You are the first. Juan is the first. No, sorry. Juan is probably the. I think we maybe met on one hand, maybe like a couple.
Thank you, Lon. I hear you. Men need affirmations too.
Men do. Juan is probably one of the few black men that I've ever heard say, I like. No, not I like. We asked him, out of all the women in the world, who do you cherish the most? And he consistently says, I love black women. And he'll even break it down. I like kinky hair. I like when the hair is natural, you fresh wash it. I like wide noses, big lips, dark skin. I love black women.
Big butts and I can't have
Yeah. You don't hear that from a lot of... When you ask black women, what kind of woman do you love? I promise you, my cousin already said this before. A lot of them say, I love women. They don't say black. I just love women. I like who likes me. I like who I'm attracted to. It's a very kind of...
But I will say, I think some guys say that because they don't want to limit themselves from getting at someone, especially.
But when you ask a white man, they say, I love white women. When you ask a Latino man, they say, I like me a Latina. Black men, the only man that I like all women. I like who likes me.
Well, I wonder if
you ask a black woman, she says, I like black men.
I think that's more
exclamation point.
I think that's more so like when you hear that. Because, black men don't just exist in the U.S., right? We exist across the world. So I think when you are saying that, I feel like just from my friends, like my Eritrean friends, my Ethiopian friends, my Nigerian friends, my Ghanese friends, I feel like that's more so of an African-American thing where you see black men saying that more so. If you're going to see that context, because my African friends love African women. My Guyanese friends, you know what I'm saying?
But black women, African American women, we say 85, 90% of the time, I like black men. And the women that do step
Same
out.
thing for Jamaican men. Jamaican men are going to like Jamaican women.
Right, but what I'm saying is, if we're talking about African American men, you're saying that most African American men don't.
Well, they say
that.
black men. I just wanted to break it down a little bit. I'm trying to defend brothers as best I can.
Black women say to the death, I love black men. Even the black women who actually marry outside, when you talk to them, they're like, well, that really wasn't my first choice, but here I am now, and it's happened to be that way. They would prefer a black man. Black men don't be preferring no black woman. You can look in the NBA, you can look in the NFL, you can look at entertainment. They like anything but a black woman. Okay? Just saying.
I feel you. Tiger said, I'm not doing the swirl, so if I'm single, then so be it.
All right, Tiger. I know that's right. She said, I want a black man.
Yeah, no, that's good. We don't have a whole lot of time left. We'll lose the next 10 to 12 minutes.
Well, we're going right into that. Kamala got a white man, so we can go ahead and talk about Kamala.
Yeah, but
Kamala. Sorry,
so before we go into our president, vice president-elect, little...
I'm got my sunglasses. Everybody at home, wave with us. Hold on. And then you gotta bring Karen Clark in there. It's your time, Donald. It's your time.
I have to find that. So yeah, I mean, hold on. I got a few more comments. It's interesting, Juan, you break it down that way. Kamala is black. However, we are not breaking down her heritage. Well, we're gonna get into that. And Lana, and then Lisa said, I think non-American blacks are also looking at culture. Lana was like Kamala. So let's
First of all, Lana got you right. You see, she got you right together on that comment. The whole heritage thing. Because, she's Jamaican. She's Jamaican Indian. So basically, what I'm trying to say is that, she still went with a white man, but if she really was about this whole Jamaican, flag waving, she would have got her, a Jamaican man.
That's not what she said. She said Kamala is back, however, we are not breaking down her heritage. I'm actually going to counter that. Basically, your comment is a counter to what she just said. Let's just go for it. Okay. So anyways, Joe Biden is president-elect after waiting 4 days. I mean, they took their time counting. I swear they had...
They time, or they just had a lot to count. It was a lot to count.
I mean, it was a lot to count, but it did seem like it was moving slow because I feel like the numbers were like 100,000 away. Then we got within 15,000, and it's like, okay, now y'all taking whole days to count 15,000, where y'all was turning out 50,000 in one day.
Because their volunteers probably diminished at that point.
It's possible. It could have been that it could have been that volunteers started to diminish. I don't know what happened, but it was like, man, y'all moving kind of slow now. Like, can we get this count through? So finally got the count in. So Joe Biden is now president-elect. We know that Trump is probably going to file some type of an injunction or a lawsuit saying he wants a recount, but we're not going to find 100,000 votes difference to put him ahead in a lot of these states. It's official. President Biden is coming in. He'll go kicking and screaming, but as to Trump, every time something doesn't go his way, he always says it's rigged. when he was getting sued by New York State for his bad business practices in real estate, he said it was rigged, the courts were rigged against him. When he didn't win the Emmys 3 years straight for the Celebrity Apprentice, he said it was rigged against him. When he didn't win Wisconsin during the 2016 primaries, he's talking about this is against other Republicans, he said that the Republican Party was rigged against him, but he still won. Then he said the same thing in Michigan during the 2016 primary. He said it's rigged against him. During the election against Hillary, he said it's rigged against him. But then we found out from our own intelligence agencies that no, it was actually rigged for you because people like North Korea and Russia were getting involved in the American elections. Our own intelligence agency has proven that time in and time out.
I just don't know why we're even counting this way, though.
Well, you have to count all the votes. Every vote counts. Even Elisa bringing in, she said Nevada and AZ are stayed like at 86% forever.
That's not what I mean. I'm saying it's 2020 and we are here with volunteers. It should be, everything should just be electronic. Like, it should be paperless. So
I think it could go electronic, but being that this is kind of like my industry, there is so much that they would have to get everyone to buy into. So at the federal level, you have to get basically the Office of Registrars and Voting Register to buy like cloud services. So they would have to reach out to like a company like Amazon or something of that magnitude and move everything to digital, right? Yeah. So that's the first step. Then you have to get all the counties or the state governments to also buy the same software to work accordingly all the way up, right?
That's the best way to do it.
So, but there's an investment in that. So what happens is a lot of times, like work with the federal government and even in SLED, state local education, what happens is they have budgets and they want to get an ROI or return on investment off the money they put in. And the problem is the way they've been doing things lately is a capital expense, right? So when it's a capital expense, that's like, oh, I bought machines, I've bought buildings, or we rent out space so we get XYZ thing done. And it does create so many jobs. Once you go to a cloud-based format, or using more technology, I believe it would be more efficient. That's proven. But what's going to happen is now that's an operational expense that they have to pay for. They have those licenses and to have that technology on hand. And there's a cost associated with that. Typically, operational expenses are more economical than going with a CapEx expense.
Well, why do you think they got contractors? Because they're behind in the time.
I understand that, but you know, working in that field,
they are behind.
It takes time to reel them into this role, and they need people who are scrum masters and stuff to help walk them through this technological process. So it takes some time. We got some comments. Herman said it was deliberately slowed to ensure the count was right, correct, and legal. Just my opinion. That's a good point. Lana said, I'm glad the count was slow. We needed all the second and third eyes looking it over. Good point. She said, I wish it was digital, but think about those disabilities or older adults. And that's too. I mean, I think that another thing, you have to consider the mail-in ballots. The current system does help those voters, probably like 45 and above to be secure. I think 45 and below, those are your early adopters to technology and those who were brought up in technology. So the idea of doing it via email or online would make sense to them.
See, what I don't like is the fact that with it being not electronic, you have the chance of people who are swearing in to count and be honest. I don't believe anybody in the political sphere is honest, period. I'm glad it worked out for Joe because Donald, it's your time. It's your time. Come January 20th? Mm-hmm. Hopefully, that's close to January 15th. They should go ahead and make the inauguration on January 15th.
Oh, Lord.
I'm just saying.
Y'all gonna be lit on the 15th. I can tell you what, J15 about to be lit this year.
They go ahead and make it on January 15th.
Y'all official inauguration
Hold
on
on,
J15.
let me see when January 15th land. It may be a weekend. If it's a weekend, it may be on the 15th. Hold on, let me see.
No, it's always gonna be on the 20th, no matter what that.
Let me see what happened.
So let's see, read some comments real quick, and then let's go into some other thing. I got like 9 minutes. Some of it has to do with when the states would start counting. True. Lana said American has been exposed. We are still on Atari, and the rest of the world is on PS5. Like, I see you, sis. So actually, and this brings up some good points, right? And I'll run through these quick. I don't really have enough time, but we'll run through them quick.
You do because
Joe Biden being president-elect. So, okay, yeah, we're celebrating now, but so the battle is won, but there's still a war to be fought. And these are some key things I want people to think about and be objective to, not blindly follow the Democratic Party or blindly follow Joe Biden, but we need to hold him to a fire. And these are the things we need to look at. One, Fighting the pandemic. We still have a global pandemic out there. What's going to be America's part on fighting that? Repairing foreign relationships. We pulled out the France Accords. There's various other climate organizations we pulled away from. We were being clowned, at least Trump was, but that means us. We were being clowned at some of these UN meetings and stuff like that. You didn't see President Trump go over there to the UK and meet with the Prime Minister at the same level of previous presidents, whether it was Bush, Obama, Clinton, Bush, Reagan, whoever. We didn't really deal with our foreign leaders the way we were supposed to. Now, he met with a lot of the people we don't want to deal with necessarily. He met with Putin. He met with North Korea. And there are plenty of times that we do need to meet with them and have an exchange. But to forego our typical European allies, I think it was a bad deal. So we need to repair that. Repair the economy for 85% because they're talking about the economy is good because 15% of those who can participate in the stock market are doing well. But what about the other 85%, right? So we got to do something about jobs. We need to bring America together. And he's already started that. Even in his president-elect speech last night, him and Kamala, they mentioned, okay, now that the counting is over, let's start talking about how we could work together to fix issues that affect us all. Because a bad economy is not a blue issue or a red issue. That's an American issue, right? Racism affects people who vote red or blue. So I like the fact that they're already starting that talk, even in their, during the presidential debate. He started building that framework. Also, he promised doing away with student loans. So I want to see something about that. I don't want this to be another exercise in, okay, we got here, but okay, folks, y'all just hurry up and wait. Like, no, we need something done sooner than later. Also, reparations. Don't forget about that because, hey, Georgia, Stacey Abrams, black women.
No, he needs to promote Stacey.
Yeah, but also but what's the point of promoting Stacey if we don't get reparations? If we don't take care of the things we're voting for? The purpose of the vote was to say the blue wave won. The purpose of putting blue folks in there was so that they will see the issue of issuing reparations, so that they would fix our justice system, so that they would fix police reform, and also handling all these myriad of issues. You're not there so we can celebrate an HBCU grad or AKA in office. You're there so that way we trust that because you're a member of the Divine Nine, because you came from HBCU, we're hoping that your ear to the street will convey in legislation and you will actually approve something for black people. I don't want the semblance of blackness in office. I want to see it reflected in legislation. And we do need to hold them to the fire. I know this might be like, hey, Juan, can we just have our moment? Moment is over.
Who put that comment?
What?
Oh, that must have been, okay, that was Christopher's comment. That scared me. How'd I get up in there? But they say you can vote for Congress. People are voting for Congress in January. I think Georgia needs to vote, right?
No, Georgia has a special election for senator in January 5th.
Okay.
Right? Those runoff elections. So that's going to be very important. Very important. And mind you, what's the purpose of these votes? Not to see somebody in office, but what they do while they're in.
You got to scroll back up.
Where was it? To here?
No, you got to scroll back up. Go back up. That's it right there. That's where it starts.
All right, cool. So
Lana said, you know what, Kat? I can't deal already. Took me talking about January 15th. That's where it starts. Go ahead, US 50.
Yeah, so Lisa Seth said US over 50 can handle digital. That's true. Yeah, I think it's there. I agree with you. We could train the general public to do it. Lana said we need the Senate. Amen to that.
Yes,
yeah,
Lana gave us the
list. Lana said, and Joe said African American in his speech. We are the first in line. Also, a lot of foreign leaders celebrated this election. Yeah, France, the UK, all through Africa. We've seen them literally popping fireworks and everything. So people are truly excited about this change in regime and getting things right. Chris McKinney said donate to the U.S. Senate candidate Warnock's campaign. That's down in Atlanta. You can so we have that information. We'll repost it again. Herman said agree with you, Lana. We need the Senate. Tiger, she said, as of right now, we don't. If we pull ahead, they will make Joe life hell. And that's true. That's what happened during the Obama administration. A lot of the pro-black things he would have passed was always being stopped by Mitch McConnell and people like Lindsey Graham down there. So,
but okay, I'll be quiet. I'll ask you later.
Because the Senate, if they control the House. So
but he was able to get some other stuff done, though.
He did, because that stuff right there was centered enough that the American public is like, well, we need affordable health care. Some of the things that seem more right or left those are the things that can get held up if you don't have a Democratic Congress and Senate, because the bills come through the Congress, right? Then from there they got to pass through the Senate. So the Senate can vote it down and say, well, no, we don't want that. And then after that, now for some reason, if there's a bill that's originated from the Republican side, goes through Congress and goes through the Senate, the president does have veto power to veto a bill, right? But that's why we need a majority Senate and a majority Congress, or at least Republicans that can work across the aisle and still push things through.
I think secretly money talks. I think if you can pay people, you don't matter if you left or right, you can get things done.
Well, we're not supposed to pay them because that's considered bribing, and that's considered federal offense.
I think that's what happened.
I mean, that's what lobbyists technically do, but that's a whole other conversation. Lana said, FYI, I'm being friendly to... hold up, my bad. She said, I'm being friendly to Trump supporters. I'm keeping that same energy y'all had. Okay.
50K student loans in the first 100 days. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. We need to have that done. She said, I'm not being friendly to Trump supporters. Okay, I got you. Okay, that makes more sense to the comment based off what you were saying. Let's see. Then Chris said, I think Biden's administration is going to be a lot more liberal than we expect. Hopefully, because we need to get the agenda done. Herman's agreeing about the black agenda. Tiger said Kamala is only black when it suits her. Let's oh man, we're like basically out of time.
Well,
but we started a little late, so I'll give us about 5 more minutes. And he said he's 68, third term running for president and going only for 1 term. I believe this is about history for him. Yeah, we need the Senate.
But he's 78?
He's not 78. He should be like 72, 71.
He old.
He old though, 70.
I don't think he'll make it because the president is stressful.
Well, you know,
that kind of stress on the old body. I don't know.
So let's talk about Kamala, right? With the next 5 minutes, we did start a little late on Facebook.
The bundles.
I'm going to talk about that too. So, Kamala, does this mean that we start seeing more diversity in executive politics? And I think this is an important question because I think a lot of time, for a while after the election of Trump, I think a lot of people believe like, man, maybe Obama was a one and done type of situation.
Yeah, they thought
like
so.
Maybe we're going to have to wait 100 years before we see diversity in office again. I think what's kind of reassuring for me, and I'm just going to be honest with y'all, is like, because for a second I was thinking like, well, dang, the way they hit us back with Trump, man, like how is it going to happen in my lifetime again that I see another black man in office or a woman,
and she's a woman,
or a woman or a black woman or anything, Latino, Asian? How long am I have to wait before I see diversity in the White House? So it is reassuring to see that Kamala checking off so many boxes, right? First black, first woman, first HBCU grad, first D9 member. Shout out to Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated.
Yep.
Ski weed for me real quick.
Go for it.
Later. Okay, cool. All right.
So then, show.
All right. So then, also she represents another category, which is first person of Jamaican descent, Asian descent, a direct descendant of an immigrant family, right? So there's so many things she represents, which is a lot of Americans, right? So I appreciate the diversity of what it means.
She fills a lot of boxes. Checking.
Now, something I don't appreciate, right, is at the end of the day, and I feel you what you mean, Tiger, because she kind of does carry that to a certain extent. It's like, and I don't know, because I didn't follow Kamala in California, but I do wonder how connected was she to the black community there, right? And is this something that people are trying to use for the sake of elections or votes? I don't know. Now, I do know, I'm a member of King. Well, I know she went to Howard. I know she's good friends with my pastor.
And people here who have money can be a bit out of touch.
I know she's good friends with my pastor, Matthew Watley, who also is HBC.
They went to school together?
Yeah, they was in Howard around the same time. And them, Anthony Anderson, all of them was there in the early 90s together. Like, yeah, Watley connected. You know what I'm saying? So, and hence, that's why during our anniversary, this is before the elections kind of really took off, she actually had sent a message to Kingdom Fellowship commemorating Pastor Matthew Watley, right? So, I mean, she's been connected, you know, so I wonder, I don't know if it's fair to say totally she's used it only when it's convenient. I feel that could be the perception because she's kind of being tried like black men are when they're successful and they still marry outside their race. because she is married to a white man.
And she may have tried to date a black man. Maybe it just didn't work out.
We don't know, right? So, I mean, I think sometimes it's easy when the masses can put stuff on people, but do we really understand the various, interesting things about a person as to why they made that decision?
But going to Howard is deliberate, so that lets
it's kind of like
she must be somewhere.
And then not only she went to Howard, but then she decided to play as AKA
sorority.
So it's kind of like
the first black sorority.
This idea that she's not black is kind of interesting to me. Yeah, the first fair,
the first collegiate.
But it's kind of like she made that option. I don't like the whitewashing of her after this person made these deliberate decisions at such an early point in their life. It's not like she joined grad chapter just 2 years ago.
I think
you know what I'm saying?
I think what it is that when you looked at President Barack Obama, who was a biracial man, he was half black and half white. He made a deliberate decision to have Michelle Obama from the south side of Chicago. So for Kamala, it's like I think if she's okay with a white man because she's biracial herself. She's not fully black, so it kind of it fits that whole narrative.
Also, she was living in California over the last 20 years. So sometimes geographically where you live, because like for instance, like if you live in the DC area.
Oh, she said at one point she wanted to be referred to as a woman of color, but she is half Asian.
So that might, so one thing,
she's half Jamaican.
Like I know us as a black culture, we want people to be black first, right? And then especially with our experience as African Americans here in the country, because they always see the blackness first, especially if they want to make a negative out of it, right? So I think a lot of times we put pressure on those on these platforms to be that for us, but she can't deny her Indian roots. She can't deny her Asian roots. She is as much as that culture as she is Jamaican and being raised black because she went to HBCU. She joined D9.
But you don't even say you black if you Nigerian or Jamaican. You don't say that.
Yeah, a lot of times
they claim their nationality.
She's one of those people. She want to go around talking about I'm mixed. Well, I mean, she's Indian and Jamaican. I mean, that's gonna have a prevalent outlook on her thought process as far as how she looks at the world. She can't stop being half Indian. Now, I know we want her to be all black, but folks, she's half Indian. I mean, she gonna be that. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, No,
but people have to understand. I think if you are a black person where you're only black, it's hard for you to understand. But being that my mom is Jamaican, now my mom identifies as American, but if you talk to any of my relatives, they will tell you I am Jamaican. Yes, they're black, but they're gonna say me. I'm Jamaican first. Like it's nationality first. Like on the Olympics, my family's looking at me like, look, you better cheer for Jamaica and the US of A. If you talk to any Nigerian, they're Nigerian first. Talk to any Ghanaian, they're Ghanaian first. So I think we do have to kind of understand that outside of the US, people don't do this whole chasm of black, Asian. You go to Jamaica, and if it's a white person born in Jamaica, they're not even identifying as white. They're gonna say they're Jamaican.
Yeah,
they're gonna say if they Chinese in Jamaica, they're gonna say they Chinese, or Jamaican.
And I think sometimes we do have to understand the global, and the world is getting smaller, so we do have to kind of understand the global view. While we understand what our experience is here in America, but then as we are starting to deal with international themes, we have to start seeing the global view of how people experience the world as well.
They don't call you black when you go over there. They say you American.
Yeah, when I was prime example, I'm happy you brought that up. As a veteran, when I was in Iraq, they didn't see me as a black man or an African American man. All they knew is I had that flag on my shoulder, and they said I was an American. Right? And they shot at me at the same rate they shot at the white boys.
Shout out to your dad.
All right? Dad. I see you. For those that don't know, my dad is Jamaican, but he was born in the UK, right? For those that don't know, Jamaica was a British colony, right? And they won their independence, it was 19...
My mama gonna be mad. I don't remember.
Oh, okay. I can't remember exactly. Herman probably tell us right now in a heartbeat, but my bad. I should know that too, being raised by him.
I should know. I don't remember.
Tiger makes a good point. She said Dominicans are the same way. Alicia made a good point. She said most people lean towards their mother's culture, and that's a really good point because mothers tend to have the more dominant culture in the home, right? A good example would be Angela Yee. From the Breakfast Club.
Yeah, but I guess
Angela Lee's father.
My family too.
Yeah, think about it. Angela Lee's father is Chinese. Her mom is from I forget but I forgot which country, but from the Caribbean, right?
Yeah.
So Angela Yee has a more dominant Caribbean culture as a result. And then you can speak to the same. Your mom's Jamaican, your dad's black, but growing up, you guys had a strong Jamaican culture in the home. You know, due to your grandmother being there in the area, your aunt there. Shout out to your aunt Pat. I love Pat. I'm gonna whoop you behind in some space again this Thanksgiving when I see you. But you know what I'm saying? But like, yeah, like. I think that's a really good point. Then Tiger said, but it's black Dominicans and Puerto Ricans. That's true. I do see that within that culture. That was a big point of the conversation too during the election. This people trying to make a monolith out of the Latin vote, right, or the Hispanic vote. You know, whatever term you deem more appropriate. Because people didn't realize Cubans, because words like socialism are used and they come from socialist countries. When you're not understanding the definition of how someone is using the word, you hear socialism, you're thinking like, oh no, we don't want dictators and people telling us what to do, and coming from these regimes that we see like in Venezuela and stuff like that, or Cuba, like those that lived through the Fidel Castro years. So when they heard socialism and Donald Trump tied the Democratic Party to socialism, they're like, oh no, I don't want that, right? Then there's this idea of sometimes feeling you're different, but not understanding how you fall under the same component. So I had this conversation with one of my Latino friends, and I'm going to start wrapping up right here. And this might be a conversation for another show.
Where do the bundles? Oh, well.
Yeah, I mean, well, we spent a lot of time on some other stuff.
It ain't going to time out. That's going to time out, but that's not.
No, that's not timed out yet. But I mean, something that was brought up was this, like with my Latino friend, they were talking about this idea of, you know, they don't realize sometimes that they're a product of slavery or an imposed culture. Oh. Because think about it, if you're Latino, right? Oh. If you look at people in Spain and Portugal and places, those areas, they look white, right?
They do.
Same thing for Italy. But then they speak Spanish because of the conquistadors that came over and conquered so many native tribes, from the Aztecs to the Mayans and so forth, all across, you know, what is now known as Mexico, or throughout South America, right? They speak Portuguese to this day in Brazil because when the Portuguese came over looking for gold and looking for places to take over, they left their culture there so the people still speak Portuguese. Mm-hmm. So even you're speaking Spanish, that's not your native tongue. You guys were speaking something else. Your native last names aren't Rodriguez and Gonzalez and Perez. They were something else. They were some Native American name that has been taken, a culture that has been taken away from you. And you see it in pieces of your culture, but then so much of it has been influenced by Catholicism and the Spanish-speaking tongue. You're no different than a black man named John Smith. His name wasn't originally John Smith. It wasn't originally Tobias. It was Kunta Kinte. But somebody beat Toby into you. Just like we were beaten into the English language, some of you have been beaten into the Hispanic language through conquering and losing touch with what your native practices would have been. And some of you living in the Caribbean have an African heritage of your own. Y'all make plantains and rice and beans no different than a Jamaican or a Haitian. Y'all eat the same food. Mm-hmm. You may call it something different, but it's all the same culture. So I think sometimes we're so removed from where we came from, we start fighting over things they're not even ours to claim. You get what I'm saying?
This will be quick. Was reading, somebody was like, oh, you know, I hope when Kamala gets into office that she gets the same hairstylist as Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama had really good bundles. Her hair looks really good. Kamala, you know, she needs a little bundle. That comment bothered me because it's like, why does Kamala need weave to look more presidential?
Oh, yeah, that was crazy.
Or to look better? Personally, if you really want to make a statement, I think Kamala should just, you know, right now she come in the way she do, and over the next 4 years, just go ahead and let the curls come on out.
Yeah, go natural.
Go natural. I want to see her rock a whole puff, a whole twist out. That's how you really leave a mark on the White House. They're like, oh, okay.
That'd be dope. So, and that'd be dope. I think that would be dope for women and imaging for our young girls.
And Kamala, there we go. I keep saying her name wrong.
Yeah, Kamala. Chris had a good point, and then we're going to try to close it around here. I'm going to do some birthday shout-outs and go. Chris said, her embracing and representing her blackness last night was huge. It was. So was Biden's explicit pledge, acknowledgement, and appreciation to the African-American community was huge, too.
I just want to see. Are we okay with African-American? I thought we said we want to be called black, but go ahead.
I mean, I think... So a lot of people don't know the term African-American actually came from Jesse Jackson in the 80s.
That's what I'm saying. It ain't even that long of a term.
But, I mean... That's a whole other conversation, African-American. We talked about it before in the nitty-gritty. We'll talk about it again. Chris said those explicit comments by Kamala and Biden in a country divided was massive. I do believe that, Chris. Elisa Seth said our senators are on a socialistic system. True. Herman Altar said, but remember, there are a lot of ignorant folks out there, regardless of where you're from, how you look. Ignorant, racist white people will just see you as black, period. Good point. Whether you are Jamaican, African, Puerto Rican, etc., etc.
Herman is talking the truth. He's telling the
truth. That's right.
And I think Africans they get pulled over too.
And that's the importance of, in America, I mean, especially if you're new to the culture, coming from somewhere else, I think that's the importance of understanding the American experience. So yes, we have to understand the global experience, but then if you're coming into American culture, it is important for you to understand the black experience of what that is here in America. Good point.
Chris says she looks more presidential than Biden than she does.
She does, but you know what? I think I had something to say about age, and I don't believe in ageism. I don't want to be part of that, but I think it is a problem that the average age of Congress is 60. I think it is a problem that the two people running for office were over 70, and especially considering that you could go to Congress at the age of 25, you can run for Senate at the age of 30, and you can run for president at the age of 35. So that was placed by our forefathers for a reason, right? We do need some of that youth and vitality inside these offices. Last but not least, we do need to get rid of term limits, and we need to get rid of the electoral college. I think it should be popular vote. Those are two things I would like for you guys to mention to your congressman. Mention that to your state senator. Write your governor, and let these people know. Listen, it worked out this time, but we want to go to popular vote, and we want to get rid of the electoral college. And you should be pushing to set term limits on Congress and the Senate. No one should be in the Senate past 2 terms because you get six years per term. And no one should be in Congress past 3 terms because you get 4 years per term. So that gives you a max. If you want to be a professional federal politician, you can get a total of basically 24 years. 12 years as a congressman if you get elected. And then now you're forced to go to a broader audience and have 12 years as a senator if you get elected.
Okay, go back. You missed some. You got to scroll down. Oh, no, I'm right here. I'm sorry.
Yep.
She is black first. I want her to be African American, but again, I digress.
I feel you though. Tiger said, I need y'all to do a show on trauma in the black community. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that, Tiger. Then Chris said, that's about experience and a network. True. Tiger says, I love your consistency on that. Lana said, that is because the life expectancy was 41. I mean, okay, I get it. But at the same time, I think in order for us to move the country forward, we need young voices, fresh ideas.
Less white men in Congress.
And then my thing is, listen, I don't have a problem with white men in Congress, but I want I want diverse thought around it, right? Also, because think about it.
We need a Muslim women, men. We need Asian men and women. We need Latino. We need poor people who came from poor. We need rich.
Yeah.
Trust
me, I agree with that.
Yeah, what I'm saying is all these white men who've been privileged, you're out of touch. And then the funny thing is, like Dave Chappelle said, you got these Trump truckers out here, go Trump, he's for me. No, Trump is not for you. Trump is for the rich. You're poor.
Yeah.
We don't. How are you not making the connection?
I don't get it. But look, man, we're excited. We're gonna celebrate for this weekend. So.
Chris said, turn down for a second. I missed it.
My bad.
Chris said, I was talking about running for office. You gotta have experience, and most importantly, never. Chris, you should absolutely run.
You should run.
I think you will.
We will support you,
and I think that you would be great.
We'll donate and we'll support you. Anything we can do. Interviews in the Nitty Gritty
show.
And
I think that you should run. Well, we'll talk about that later. I think that where you run is key. And the only reason why I say that is because I feel like my political vast understanding of seeing more black politicians here than I did when I was in Ohio. In Ohio, the only black politician I ever seen, a lot of correct me if I'm wrong, usually was the mayor. Everybody else was white. It was like white people representing East Cleveland. I'm like, what's going on here? I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, but...
okay. Listen, Chappelle was right. He was absolutely right. I don't know why they thought he was for them.
Yeah. Watch your foot.
Birthday shout outs.
Yeah, birthday shout outs. And once again,
let's celebrate. You keep it on, turn down. Party going on right here. A celebration.
Alright, let me read these comments real quick.
And your laughter too.
And actually, let me just cue up my little closing music because since Kamala won, HBCU, Kamala, y'all know what I meant.
I don't know why she just don't go by Kamala. It make it more sense.
No, her name is Kamala.
But phonetically, it makes more sense.
No, her name is Kamala. I'm gonna respect her. Look, I got some birthday shout outs.
Tiger said I'm running for school board in Cleveland Heights. Donate to my campaign. Absolutely.
Definitely, yo.
Come on, Tiger Pride.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll do that. So anyway, some quick birthday shout outs. If you're wondering who I'm listening to, this is Trombone Shorty. This is the song Shortyville off his Say This to Say That album. I'm playing it because it got that HBCU feel to it. You know what I'm saying? Got them horns. So it's jazz, but something y'all can step to if you wanted to.
You can train.
Yes.
You can train, but you can't step.
I mean, you know what I meant, strong.
No, it's different.
Alright, whatever. Look, happy birthday to an AKA friend of mine, Sharika Simone Williams. Shout out to Erin Williams, just had her birthday yesterday. Actually, no, her birthday's today. Both of their birthdays is today. Shout out to my homie Jason Smith, AKA Maz. His birthday's on Tuesday, or actually was this past Tuesday, I mean. Shout out to Marcus Gunn, AKA Legacy. His birthday is few birthdays on today. And once again, shout out to Kamala winning. Kamala. I know what I meant, y'all. Dang, I've been correcting people all week.